What if a mother asked Jesus to go back to the night her son left and never returned? Sarah held the phone with both hands, her knuckles white from gripping so hard. The voice on the other end repeated the same question for the third time, but she couldn't answer. "Ma'am, we found your son's backpack near the bridge. There's a letter inside. Would you like me to read it?" She closed her eyes. In that second, only one thing mattered. She would give anything to go back. Go back to the night when Michael walked out the door. Go back to the words she said. Go back to the moment when there was still time to choose differently. And then, a voice she didn't recognize whispered inside her chest, "What if you could?" 6 months before that phone call, Sarah was a different person. Or maybe she had always been the same, only no one dared to confront her. She ran the house with the precision of someone who believes there's a right way to live, and all others are wrong. Michael was 19 years old and lived on the edges of that certainty. He spoke little during dinner. He studied business administration because she chose it. He wore shirts that she approved of. And he carried a secret that weighed more with each passing day. That Thursday night, he came home from college different. There was something in his eyes, a decision made, a limit reached. Sarah was in the kitchen when she heard his bedroom door slam. She climbed the stairs with that authority that never needed to be announced. She knocked once and entered without waiting for an answer. Michael was sitting on the bed, holding his phone, his shoulders tense. "Mom, we need to talk." She crossed her arms. "About what?" He took a deep breath, like someone preparing to dive into freezing water. "About who I am." The next words came out trembling, but they came out. Michael told her about the feelings he had hidden since he was 14, about the fear he felt of her, about the boyfriend she would never meet because he was certain of her reaction. Sarah didn't yell, not immediately. She just stood there, processing, as if her son had confessed to a crime. "This is a phase. You're confused." "It's not a phase. Mom, you don't know what you're saying." "I know exactly what I'm saying." Her voice hardened. "As long as you live in this house, you will respect the values of this family. This doesn't exist here. Do you understand?" Michael stood up. He grabbed the backpack that was thrown on the chair and started putting clothes inside, quickly, mechanically. "What are you doing?" "Leaving." "You're not going anywhere." "I should have left a long time ago." She grabbed his arm hard. "Michael, you're making a mistake." He looked into her eyes for the last time that night. And what Sarah saw, there wasn't anger. It was something worse. It was surrender. "The mistake was thinking you would love me for who I am." He pulled his arm away gently, grabbed the backpack, and went down the stairs. Sarah stood frozen in the room, hearing the front door open. She waited for the sound of him coming back, but he never came back. In the following days, Sarah called 17 times. All went to voicemail. She sent messages that turned blue, read, ignored. She searched the places where he used to go, asked the few friends she knew. Nobody knew anything, or nobody wanted to tell her. The house became silent in a way that hurt. She cleaned his room every week, as if he would return at any moment. She ran her hand over the notebooks, over the shirts hanging in the closet. At night, she sat in the dark living room and replayed the conversation in her head. She changed the words. She tried different versions, but it always ended in the same place, Michael walking through the door. 6 months later, the phone call came. The backpack near the bridge, the letter, and it was there, kneeling on the living room floor with the phone fallen beside her, that Sarah did something she had never done in her life. She begged, "God, I know I don't deserve it. I know I failed. But if there's a chance, just one chance to fix this, I'll do anything. Let me go back. Let me try again." The silence of the house swallowed her words. And then something changed. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't light. It was a sensation, as if time had folded upon itself. Sarah opened her eyes. She was in Michael's room, but it wasn't empty. He was there, sitting on the bed, holding his phone, his shoulders tense. And she heard her own voice coming from behind her, from the hallway. About what? Sarah covered her mouth with her hand. She had gone back. She was in that night again. And now, for the first time in her life, Sarah had to decide, would she protect her own certainties, or would she protect her son? Sarah didn't know if she was dreaming, going insane, or if God had really hurt her. But there she was, in the hallway, just a few steps from Michael's room. And this time, she knew what was coming next. She knew every word he would say. She knew every word she would respond with. And she knew exactly where that conversation would end, with the door slamming and 6 months of silence. She took a deep breath and entered the room. Michael was sitting on the bed, with the same expression of someone about to jump off a cliff. "Mom, we need to talk." This time, Sarah didn't cross her arms. She sat on the edge of the bed, slowly, and waited. Michael blinked, surprised. This wasn't the script he expected. "About what?" she asked, and her voice came out softer than she planned. He looked at his own hands. "About who I am." The words came trembling, exactly like the first time. Michael told her about the hidden feelings, about the fear, about the boyfriend she would never meet. And Sarah listened. Really listened, not just waiting for her turn to speak. Each word was a blade, not because it hurt, but because it revealed how much she had never paid attention, how much she had never asked, how much she had built a version of Michael that fit within her own expectations, and ignored the real son who was there, suffocating. When he finished, silence weighed in the room. Michael expected the explosion, expected the rejection, expected the door closing in his face, even if she stayed on the inside. But Sarah closed her eyes and for the first time let the armor fall. "I don't know what to say," she admitted. Her voice cracked. "I spent my whole life believing that there was a right way to be, and that anything outside of that was ... wrong. Dangerous. I raised you inside that box because I thought I was protecting you." She opened her eyes and looked at him. "But I wasn't protecting you. I was suffocating you." Michael tried to speak, but she raised her hand. "Let me finish." She took a deep breath. "I don't know if I can change overnight everything I believed my whole life. I don't know if I can look at you and not feel fear of what others will think, of what the church will say, of what this means for me." Her voice trembled. "But I know one thing. I'd rather have you here, the way you are, with all your truths, than lose you trying to mold someone you never were." Michael was paralyzed. Tears began to fall, silent, as he tried to process what he was hearing. You're saying you accept?" Sarah shook her head, slowly. "I'm saying I don't want to lose you, and that I'll try. Even if it's difficult, even if I stumble, but I'll try." He couldn't hold back the tears. He broke down there, in front of her, years of anticipated rejection melting all at once. Sarah extended her arms, hesitant, and he threw himself into the embrace. She held her son tight, as if holding something that almost slipped through her fingers forever. "I'm sorry," she whispered in his ear. "I'm sorry for all the times I made you feel like you weren't enough." They stayed like that for minutes. Time stopped there, in that embrace that never happened in the first version of that night. When Michael finally pulled away, he wiped his eyes with his shirt sleeve. "I thought you were going to kick me out of the house." "I was," Sarah admitted, and the honesty hurt. "I was going to do exactly that, but I had ... a revelation. A second chance, and I'm not going to waste it." Michael took a deep breath. "There's someone I want you to meet." Sarah felt her stomach tighten. It wasn't going to be easy. None of this would be easy. But she nodded. "Bring him here. I want to meet him." In the following days, Sarah discovered a son she had never seen. Michael brought David over for dinner on Friday. Sarah set the table with trembling hands. When the doorbell rang, she took 3 deep breaths before opening the door. David was a young man with a shy smile, polite, who greeted Sarah with a firm handshake and a genuine pleasure to meet you. They sat at the table. The conversation started tense, stiff, but gradually loosened up. David talked about architecture school, about his internship, about his family. Michael looked at his mother from time to time, still suspicious, waiting for the moment when she would explode. But Sarah held herself together. She asked questions. She listened. And at the end of the night, when they were leaving, she held Michael's hand. "He's a good young man." Michael smiled, and it was a smile she hadn't seen in years. Pure, free. But Sarah's journey was just beginning. Accepting inside the house was one thing. Accepting outside the house was another war. On Sunday, she went to church. She sat in the usual pew, greeted the same people as always. But this time, when the conversation turned to today's youth lost, without values, Sarah felt something different in her chest. Anger. Mrs. Patterson, the prayer group leader, commented on a TV show that was on. "It's absurd what they're showing on TV, normalizing this kind of thing. Before you know it, they'll want us to accept it in our own homes." Sarah took a deep breath. The other women agreed, shaking their heads in collective disapproval. And then Sarah did something she never imagined she would do. She spoke. "I accept it in my home." The silence fell over the group like a stone. Mrs. Patterson turned to her, eyes wide. "Excuse me? My son is gay, and I accept it. And he's dating a wonderful young man. And I accept that too." The women exchanged scandalized looks. One of them whispered something about sin and damnation. Sarah stood up. "You can judge all you want, but I almost lost my son because of this type of thinking. And I am not going to lose him again just to fit into what you think is right." She grabbed her purse and walked out of the church without looking back. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was beating irregularly. But for the first time in a long time, Sarah felt something like peace. She chose her son. She chose love. She chose truth, even if it cost her the approval of people she had known for decades. When she got home, Michael was in the living room, studying. He looked at her, curious. How was church? Sarah took off her shoes and sat on the couch next to him. "I told them about you, about David." Michael went pale. "Mom, ... You didn't have to ... double quotes." "I had to," she interrupted. "Because if I don't own this now, publicly, I'll keep living with shame about something I shouldn't be ashamed of. And you don't deserve a mother who's ashamed of who you are." He hugged her tight. "I love you, Mom. I love you too." And I should have said that more often. The following months were about reconstruction. Sarah started attending a support group for parents of LGBTQIA+ children. At first, she just went to observe, quiet in the corner of the room. She heard stories from other mothers, other fathers, who went through the same process of deconstruction. Some lost their children before they could change. Others got there in time. And Sarah, for the first time, realized she wasn't alone in that internal struggle between what she was taught to believe and what her heart was screaming. She started reading books about identity, about sexuality, about faith and acceptance. She watched documentaries. She talked to psychologists. And with each passing day, the armor of prejudice she had carried her whole life was cracking, piece by piece. Until one day, 3 months after that transformative night, Michael came home excited. "Mom, we were invited to David's cousin's birthday party. It's on Saturday. Do you want to go with us?" Sarah hesitated, not because she was ashamed, but because she was afraid of ruining things. "Are you sure?" "I don't want to make you uncomfortable." Michael smiled. "Mom, I want you to go. I want you to meet the people who are part of my life. Really, On Saturday, Sarah dressed carefully. She chose a simple, elegant dress. She pinned her hair up, and when she arrived at the party, for the first time, she didn't enter with fear of judgment. She entered with curiosity. She met friends of Michael she had never heard about. She talked with couples who had been together for years, building lives, dreaming futures. And she realized something obvious, but that she had refused to see. They were just people. People who loved. People who laughed. People who suffered. People who wanted to be accepted for who they were, just like everyone else. On the way home, Michael was driving and David was in the back seat. Sarah looked out the window, watching the city pass by. "I was wrong with you for a long time," she said suddenly. Michael looked at her, surprised. "I spent years building a version of you that existed only in my head. And when you tried to show me who you really were, I rejected it. Because accepting you meant admitting I was wrong. And I didn't know how to do that." Her voice trembled. "But I'm learning, and I want you to know that I won't give up. Even when it's difficult, even when I stumble, I'll keep trying to be the mother you deserve." Michael stopped the car at a red light and turned to her. "You already are, Mom. You already are." Sarah wiped away a tear that escaped. "I almost lost you. And if I had lost you, I never would have forgiven myself." The light turned green. They kept driving. And for the first time in a long time, the silence inside that car wasn't heavy. It was peace. A few weeks later, Sarah received a call from Mrs. Patterson. She almost didn't answer, but something inside her said to accept. "Sarah, I need to talk to you." Her voice was different, less judgmental, more ... human. "Go ahead. My granddaughter told me something yesterday, and I didn't know how to react. I kept thinking about you, about how you had the courage to speak at church." Sarah waited. "She told me she likes girls, and that she's suffering because she's afraid to tell me. But I noticed, and I don't know what to do." Silence. Sarah ... "How did you do it?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I almost lost my son, Patricia. And when I had the chance to choose again, I chose him. I chose love. Because in the end, nothing else matters." Mrs. Patterson cried on the other end of the line. "Can you ... Can you help me? Teach me?" "I can." And that's how Sarah started helping other mothers. Discreetly, at first. Conversations in the church parking lot. Afternoon coffees, late-night phone calls. She became the person she wished she had found when she was lost. And she realized that the second chance she received wasn't just for her. It was to spread. But did Sarah really receive a divine second chance? Or was the real miracle that she finally had the courage to choose love over fear? 6 months after that impossible night, Sarah woke up startled, her heart pounding, cold sweat on her forehead. She had just dreamed about the bridge, about the backpack, about the phone call. She got up quickly, still in the dark, and went to Michael's room. She opened the door slowly. He was there, sleeping, his chest rising and falling in a calm rhythm. Sarah leaned against the doorframe and let the tears fall, because in that moment, a brutal truth hit her head on. She would never know for sure. Never know if she really went back in time, if God had granted the impossible, or if it was all just a desperate dream of a mother who almost destroyed her own son. Maybe she never went back. Maybe the conversation was different from the beginning. Maybe she imagined the first version during the 6 months of torment, building a scenario of guilt to justify his absence. Or maybe the miracle was real. But in the end, it didn't matter. What mattered was that Michael was there, alive, whole, and she had chosen right. Sarah went back to her room, lay down but couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling until the sun rose. And when the morning light came through the window, she realized something she had never realized before. The second chance wasn't about changing the past. It was about changing herself. At breakfast, Michael appeared in a sweatshirt, his hair messy. "Good morning, Mom." "Good morning, son." He grabbed a glass of juice and sat at the table. "Are you okay? You look tired." Sarah smiled. "I had a strange dream, but I'm fine." They had breakfast together, talking about simple things. The test he had on Monday, the lunch she was going to make on Sunday, the plans for the weekend, normal things. Things that, 6 months ago, she thought she would never have again. Later, Sarah went to the support group. It was Thursday, meeting day. When she arrived, there were already 5 mothers waiting in the room. One of them was new, sitting in the corner, her eyes red from crying so much. Sarah sat next to her. "First time?" The woman nodded, wiping her nose with a tissue. "My son left home 3 weeks ago. He told me he's gay, and I reacted badly, very badly. I said horrible things. And now he won't answer my calls." Her voice broke. "I don't know if he'll come back." Sarah held her hand. "He will. If you show him you've changed. If you prove that love is greater than fear. But what if it's too late?" Sarah took a deep breath. It's never too late as long as he's still alive. As long as there's still time to talk, to apologize, to rebuild. What you can't do is go back after the person is gone. The woman looked at her, clinging to those words as if they were a lifeline. "How did you do it?" Sarah thought about the question, thought about the impossible night, thought about the miracle that maybe never happened. "I almost lost my son. And when I realized what I was about to lose, I understood that no belief, no opinion, no judgment was worth more than him. So I chose. And I keep choosing every day." The meeting started. Each mother, each father shared their story. Some were still at the beginning of the journey, stumbling, falling, getting up. Others had already crossed the desert and were on the other side, rebuilding bridges. And Sarah, listening to those stories, realized that her mission wasn't just with Michael. It was with all the mothers who were where she had been, lost between what they were taught to believe and what their hearts begged them to feel. After the meeting, Sarah went to visit a church. Not the one she used to attend. A different one. Smaller. More welcoming. The pastor was young, soft-spoken, and preached about unconditional love. About a God who didn't reject, but embraced. About a faith that liberated, not imprisoned. Sarah sat in the back pew, and for the first time in months, prayed without guilt. "Thank you for giving me the chance to choose differently, for showing me that love is stronger than fear, and for teaching me that accepting my son doesn't distance me from you, it brings me closer." When she left the church, the sky was orange, the sun setting slowly. Sarah walked to the car, but before getting in, she looked back, at the building, at the people leaving, and she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, belonging, not to the place, but to herself. That night, Michael brought David over for dinner again. It was already routine. Every Friday, the 3 of them had dinner together. They talked, they laughed, they shared the week. During dessert, David commented on a project he had at college. "We're developing a community center, a safe space for LGBTQIA+ youth who are kicked out of their homes." Michael looked at him, proud. "It's an incredible project. It's going to help a lot of people." David smiled, but then became serious. "It's sad to think that a place like this needs to exist, that there are so many people being rejected by their own families." Sarah put down her fork. "I almost became one of those mothers." Both looked at her. "If IHEDN single quotes T ... changed, if I had insisted on the path I was following, Michael would have left this house and never come back. And I would have become just another statistic of a mother who lost her son to pride." She looked at both of them. "But I learned that protecting a child isn't molding them. It's accepting them. It's giving them space to be who they really are, even when it challenges everything you believed your whole life. Michael got up and hugged her from behind. "You're the bravest mother I know." Sarah held his hand. "I'm not brave. I just learned to love right." David wiped away a discreet tear. "I wish my parents thought like that." Sarah looked at him. "They can still learn. People change. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it hurts. But they change." After they left, Sarah was alone in the living room. She grabbed her phone and opened the photo gallery. There was a photo of Michael as a child, smiling, missing his front tooth. Another of him as a teenager, serious, distant. And several recent ones, of him and David together, of him laughing, of him free. And Sarah realized that the son she had now was the son who had always been there. She had just been too blind to see. A few days later, Sarah received a message from Mrs. Patterson. "I managed to talk to my granddaughter. Thank you for helping me. She's bringing her girlfriend over for lunch on Sunday. I'm nervous, but I'm trying." Sarah smiled and replied, "You'll be surprised at how much easier love is than fear." And it was true. Each day got easier. Each conversation. Each introduction. Each time Sarah saw Michael being himself, without masks, without fear, she realized that the real miracle wasn't going back in time. It was having the courage to let the future be different from what she planned. On a Saturday afternoon, 3 months later, Michael came into the living room with a box. "Mom, I brought something." Sarah looked curious. He opened the box and took out an old backpack, the same one he had taken that night. Sarah felt her stomach freeze. "I found this in my old room closet. It was hidden way back there." He opened the backpack and took out an envelope. "There's a letter in here. I had written it, but never sent it." Sarah took the envelope with trembling hands. "You can read it," Michael said gently. She opened it. His handwriting, irregular, young. "Mom, when you read this, I'll probably already be gone. Not because I don't love you, but because I can't keep living pretending to be someone I'm not. I tried so hard. But each day that passes, I feel like I'm dying a little inside. I know you think you're protecting me, but protecting me from being myself isn't protection. It's prison. I wanted you to know that I didn't choose this. I just chose to stop lying. Maybe one day you'll understand. Maybe not, but I need to go. With love, Michael." Sarah finished reading and closed her eyes. The tears fell hot, heavy. "I never sent it because I changed my mind because you changed." She looked at him. "I didn't change, son. I just stopped pretending that my fear was more important than your right to exist." Michael hugged her tight. "Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for giving me the chance." They stayed like that for long minutes. And when they separated, Sarah tore up the letter. Piece by piece, she threw it all in the trash. "That future doesn't exist anymore." Michael smiled. "No, it doesn't." That night, Sarah lay in bed and looked at the ceiling again. But this time, not with anguish, with gratitude. Because in the end, she understood. The second chance wasn't a divine miracle. It was a human choice. The choice to put love above pride, acceptance above judgment, the real son above the imagined son. And that choice, she realized, was available to everyone, every day, in every conversation, in every decision, in every moment when fear tries to disguise itself as protection. Sarah closed her eyes and whispered in the dark, "Thank you for letting me make mistakes and for giving me time to fix them." No answer came, but she didn't need one, because the answer was sleeping in the next room, alive, whole, free, and loved the way he always deserved to be. A few months later, Sarah was invited to give a talk at the community center that David helped build. "I don't know how to speak in public," she said, nervous. "You don't need to know how," Michael replied. "You just need to tell your story." And that's what she did. She went up on the small stage, looked at the 50 people sitting there, young people, fathers, mothers, grandparents. And she told. She told about the night she almost lost her son, about the fear she carried, about the painful deconstruction of everything she believed, and about the reconstruction of a love she thought she had, but never really knew. When she finished, the silence was absolute. And then, one by one, people started to stand up, applauding, not for the talk, but for the courage. Afterwards, a girl about 17 years old approached, her eyes swollen from crying so much. "My mom kicked me out of the house 2 months ago. Do you think she can change? That she can accept me one day?" Sarah held her hands. "I don't know, but I know that some mothers need to almost lose everything to realize what really matters. And I know that you deserve to be loved exactly as you are, even if she hasn't understood that yet." The girl hugged her and cried. Sarah hugged back and felt, in that moment, that the second chance she received wasn't just hers. It was for all the families that still had time to choose differently, for all the parents who could still look at their children and say, "I love you," not despite who you are, but exactly because of who you are, and for all the children who still hoped, even after so much rejection, that one day love would overcome fear. Because in the end, that's what it was about, love or fear. And Sarah had learned, in the most painful way possible, that love was always worth it. Always. That night, at home, Michael and David were in the living room watching a movie. Sarah passed by them going to the kitchen. "Mom, come watch with us," Michael called. She came back and sat on the couch. Michael on one side, David on the other, and she in the middle, as it always should have been. A family. Not perfect, but real. And in the end, that's what mattered. Not the broken expectations, not the plans that didn't come true, but the people we choose to love, the people we choose to accept, the people we choose to stay with. And Sarah had chosen. She had chosen Michael. She had chosen love. And that choice had changed everything, not because she went back in time, but because she decided that the future would be different. And that, in the end, was the only miracle that really mattered. Every second chance we let pass is a life that will never knock on our door again. You know, while I was writing this story, I realized something. There are thousands of people watching now, feeling the same thing you are. But only a small part will make sure they never miss the next stories I've prepared. And I don't want you to be one of those people who watch, feel, reflect, and then forget to press that red button down there. Because these stories I tell here, they're not for empty entertainment. They're to make you think differently when you look at your child tonight, to remind you to call your mother tomorrow, to transform you, even if just a little bit. And if you felt that now, with Sarah and Michael's story, imagine what's coming next. So do this, subscribe now. Not because I'm asking, but because you don't want to wake up a month from now and realize you missed stories that could have changed the way you love the people around you. It's just one click, but it could be the difference between forgetting and transforming. Sarah's story taught us something powerful, didn't it? That true love requires courage to let go, not to hold on. But what if it's the opposite? What if the problem isn't rejection, but the protection that suffocates? I want to introduce you to another mother. A mother who loved her son so much that she asked Jesus to protect him from all harm. And Jesus answered. He protected him from every fall, from every pain, from every failure. But she didn't imagine the price her son would pay for never having learned to fall. Because there's a type of love that hurts without touching, a type of care that imprisons without bars. And that mother discovered this in the most painful way possible. If Sarah's story made you reflect on acceptance, this next one will make you question where the line goes between protecting and destroying. Give this story a chance. It will surprise you. And maybe make you rethink the way you protect the ones you love.